Hello and welcome. In this video we are going to be populating a table with rows. So in our previous lectures we created a couple of tables. So this is a query I used to create the tables. So you can clear the query window by clicking on this icon here. It says clear query window, and that will clear. It tells you, are you sure you want to discard the current changes? Say yep, and that clears the query window. So here I've got a query here that I've added on to insert or populate the table, this table here I created called weather. So when you are populating a table, when you're inserting rows, this is how you specify it. You use the keyword insert into, and then followed by the name of the table you're doing the insert, and then the values, and then in parentheses you specify the columns. So for example, the columns you are inserting the data into. For example, the first column, this San Francisco, will go into this column called city, and this number here goes into here, so they correspond, and then the date, this is the date value. So notice the format of the date as well. So the values have to be in the order of the columns. So we know that this, you notice that I put quotes around the text, because that's the only way the database can recognize that they are text. So you can see the San Francisco value goes in city and so on, and then the date goes in the date column. So notice that the value have been surrounded with single quotes. The date type is quite flexible in what it accepts, but you know, you can also enclose it in that. Notice I've also put single quotes around that value I'm giving to the date. So the format here, this represents the year, this represents the month, and this represents the day. So once I've done that, I can execute the query. I click execute. This, the execute button, this one that looks like a thunderbolt, click on that and that will execute. It tells you query return successful, insert 01, so it's inserted something in there. So to test that we definitely have something in the table, I'm just writing a simple select statement. Select star means select all the rows from all the columns from this table here called weather. So I'm just going to highlight that and click on this lightning bolt to execute, and we can see here we have some data. So yeah, so that's the, on that city we've got that in this the date as well. So we have successfully inserted and populated the table with a row. So I have added another query here on line 6 here to insert a row into the cities table. And when you are inserting values, the values has to be in the order the table was created. So you need to remember the order of the columns. So here I'm inserting into the table called cities, which is this table here, and these are the values. So if I expand that table, we can see the columns. It's got 2 columns here. So we've got the name, which is a text or a string, so we enclose that in quotes. And then we've got the location. Notice the data type is a point, so the point type requires a coordinate pair as input. That's why I've done this. See the coordinate when you're using point, it requires a coordinate pair as an input. So now I can execute this query by clicking on this lightning bolt icon here, and that should insert. You can see here it's a query return successful, so it has inserted the row in the table. Again, if we want to confirm that data was inserted, we can just write a select statement. So I'm just going to copy that statement above and just change this to cities. And then highlight this and run the query. And we can see what it returns. There you go. So it has inserted values that we executed using this query here. I have added 2 extra queries just to explain something to you. I've added this here, this block, and also this block. The reason I've done that is just to explain something fairly quickly. So far, with these 2 queries that we use to insert the rows, it requires that you remember the order of the columns. An alternative syntax allows you to list the columns explicitly, which is what I've done here. All right, so I've actually listed them, right, just to be certain that they are in the correct order. So this is another way to write the same query. Many developers consider explicitly listing the columns to be a better style than relying on the order implicitly. So I'm going to just execute this so that you can see that it works the same way, and click execute, and that will do the same job. And also you can also list the columns in a different order if you wish, or even omit some columns. For example, you can see here in this one here, I have left out this column here. I've left that out, and also change the order. Say for example you have no value for a certain column, it's okay to skip that, like I've done here. I've left this column out now. So this here, I should be able to execute this as normal by clicking on this icon here. And you can see it has executed the query. So these are just various ways you can write queries when you are populating a table. So you can either implicitly specify the column name, or explicitly do that. So when you're doing it implicitly, you're relying on the order, but when you're doing it explicitly, you are actually specifying it in the query. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.